So we're going to go ahead and get things started here because we want to talk about a lot. We got a lot of people. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the Batman legacy. What is it that has made Batman? I mean, heroes stick around forever, but there's something different about Batman. There's something that has made him something almost like Transformers. He's generational. So actually, we'll start right there because he's chopping at the bit.
Yeah, I mean, Batman absolutely, from a storytelling writer's perspective, he's massive because has the Sherlock Holmes about him. He isn't beatable on every single level, on everything that's happened to him. He really is unstoppable. You never find a situation where Batman really loses in a lot of ways. He's always fighting for humanity and fighting for the side of Gotham. And I think the thing that keeps him going and the legacy of Batman that's so amazing is you never know what he's going to do. He always has a really cool, clever way out, just like Sherlock Holmes does. It seems like the last minute, oh no, this isn't going to go well, but he's always has to have his way out of it, being a great detective and great mind. And I think he puts humanity to shame, sadly. Humans should step up their game to be more like Bruce.
Like crazy and obsessive? Isn't that what we always look down upon, though?
Oh, maybe. That's fair.
Like,
That's
not
fair.
in this community.
The Knight has a word?
I do. Actually, you do realize that Batman really technically didn't get popular. For a while, he actually was the least popular DC character. At one point in the 70s, 60s, 70s, even part of the 50s, Batman was about to get canceled by DC.
Oh, wow.
I bet they're thinking they're lucky stars right now.
Yeah.
they're like, hey.
It was the Adam West Batman in '66 because that was a gamble. They weren't sure. They wanted to do Superman. They wanted to do the Spirit, but they were like, or the Green Hornet, and then said they went with Batman because they were like, this is easier. We can do a little more kid friendly. He's already got some villains that are completely crazy over the top. It's a little bit more cartoony.
Let's be honest though. Could you see Superman 66 with pow, bam, laser vision?
No.
Like, you know.
It's the same Wolverine
I can't watch it either.
I can totally.
In the animation show, Wolverine, he always, he's fighting robots with his claws because if you were to fight people with his claws, he'd tear into them and rip them to pieces.
Yeah.
Right.
And Superman, I mean, if he were to punch someone, everything just seems so minute and unrelatable. Batman, I mean, he can fight crime, and I mean, maybe his earlier iterations just weren't as serious as people were hoping it would be. His later, what he's become, has definitely represented pretty big high hopes and dreams.
Actually, at a point, they removed Batman's gun. He actually was more of a copy of the Shadow.
Oh,
In fact, actually, one of the first Batman stories is a direct copy of the Shadow. And by the way, I'm not dissing Batman, but yeah, he was one of the stories.
Better not. You're the Knight.
They copied one of the storylines of the Shadow. And the Shadow was actually even more popular. He had a radio show and everything. So,
What about you, Greg? What is your opinion on why Batman has lasted this long?
I think there's a lot of different variances there. I think that when you come to Batman, first off, he's one of the only superheroes that's just a guy. He's,
He's
granted,
just a
he's
rich
trained his
guy.
entire life. He's, somebody that you can almost believe that you could become if you had like a ton of money. And
I'm
you
sorry, I
had
had a ton of money. I don't think I'd want to be Batman. I think I would want to run around and not fight crime, get as far away as possible.
But that's also part of the thing is that he's so
guy.
motivated to not make sure that what happened to him with his parents doesn't happen to anybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that whole trying to take control of an uncontrollable situation and trying to make things better for the community, not just, himself, because, there's no way he's going to get revenge for what happened. He's trying to prevent that from happening to any other child or any other, mother or father or whatever, that, he'll be able to protect everybody.
He's an approachable hero because, like you said, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I'm drawn to Spider-Man so much is he's just a normal guy.
Yeah.
He has a day job.
He has a mutant powers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He kinda got bit by a radioactive spider.
So Batman is just this regular guy he has a mortality, and I think that's what kind of sets him aside from the other heroes, is because they're gods, and here you have a man that's just kicking ass and taking names. I said ass.
Because he's rich.
There you go.
And
He's also
it's humanized. It's
Yeah.
the fact that, like Greg said, like you could aspire to be that person, but also he does make mistakes. And so many of the
He's a
superheroes,
human.
he's a hero. He's not a superhero. And so many of the superheroes with their superpowers, they don't have to worry about, like you said, like Superman could punch like through the earth, basically. Like, I mean, they've got these extreme powers that are. So they make them godlike. They make them so elevated that we can't ever get there. But Batman, he makes mistakes, and he has human relationships. I mean, his sidekicks are his sons to him. Like, he feels that
His
family
children.
relationship.
And he actually can get hurt like an actual live human being.
Yes.
Person.
And does a lot.
and fights the toughest villain as well. The toughest villain being like the corruption of humanity. And under the Red Hood, you see that in a sequence at the very end, whenever he's discussing with Jason, he's like, why not him? And he explicitly explains why he fights for this moral code. And if anything, Batman has the most difficult villain that is the most unstoppable villain of all of the heroes, and it's why Joker is just a person, is because it's humanity that he's fighting. In some way, his worst villain is Gotham. There's so many times where he's probably like, I'm trying. Like, you just please
I'm just
stop.
trying. Come on.
Why is everyone hating me? Why is this happening?
Why you gotta hate me, man?
Why you gotta be like this? Why are you like this? Why are you like this?
Yeah, I don't think you would call him having a day job, being a billionaire, playboy, and industrial business owner.
Billionaire, playboy,
Show me a Batman that works like at a cash register at a grocery store.
Yeah, like the disgruntled cash register Batman, you know, like in an alternate universe, he's just like a day job.
When he first came out, I mean, it's a mixture of dream fulfillment, you know, as well as trying to tell a moral tale. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, like, you know, James Bond, for example, the spies aren't really like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of spy work or police work.
You mean we don't get cars with Gatling guns and watches with lasers?
But
and
you know, there's this dream
martinis
fulfillment.
that are
You know, what if you were a millionaire and you were able to do whatever you wanted to do, you know, and you did it for good? There you have Batman.
I am going to have to play devil's advocate here for
another devil's advocate.
I would say, I thought that was my job on this.
for just a small little bit here, because I like to sit and soak in a lot of other opinions and see what other people are thinking before I kind of, you know, poke holes and stuff. But I've always been under the opinion that being insanely over the top, like, rich is a superpower.
and it kind of is.
To a degree, the level by which that they write Batman's wealth is ridiculous. Like, completely without end ridiculous. To me, it's unlimited to the point it might as well be a superpower. Like, literally, there is nothing that it cannot do at this point, and it's gotten to the point where if you really look at it in the scope of the balance of everything else, that I don't really see the argument of it being him human anymore. Any other superhero with any other power has just as much humanity as he does at that point, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think that's really what it is that makes him different than the other superheroes. I think that really what sets Batman apart from the other superheroes and the relatability part is it's more of the I can still be that guy if I try hard enough, if I work hard enough. It's something that's achievable still. I don't think it's the money. I don't think it's the wealth. I don't think it's the gadgets or the reality, because let's face it, nothing Batman has is actually any more real than Superman's powers. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
well, Superman doesn't have an awesome car and a bat boat and a Batcopter.
And a bat dog.
He has crypto.
If you really want to break it down, though, how much of what Batman really has is any less fantastical than anything that any of the other ones have?
Which is a Robin answer. That's a very, I mean, like, from a huge standpoint, what's so great about the Robins is they're all heart. And I mean, if anything, like, wearing red is a big attribution to that, because, you know, the Dark Knight having a bit of red, you know, a bit of that heart. Robin really represents that, because he's the one who sees, like, it doesn't matter if Bruce was broke. He would still climb out of a grave and fight for his life to make sure what's done is right.
Exactly. It's the determination. Absolutely. I think that's what the whole point of it is. I think that's the whole point of what sets Batman apart is it's the spirit of keep trying. It's the never giving up part of it. I think it's the determination is the core of what it means for Batman to be different. And it wasn't always so. Like Pocky was saying, you know, he was a dime a dozen character to start off with. I mean, he was literally an amalgamation of several different characters, straight up, even admittedly so. You know, Kane said, you know, he was part Zorro, he was part, you know, a handful of characters and such. It was an evolution of things. It was a you know, throw the darts and see what hits and sticks over the years, and things that hit and miss. And what really was the difference, what really was that made it was the fact that at his core he was somebody who really just did not give up. And I think that's what we all want out of ourselves, is what we want to find in ourselves, is that feeling that, you know, things are stacked against you, things are hard, you know, we all have tragedies, we all have things that, like, right out the gate, you know, and he doesn't give up. He doesn't waver. He doesn't, Joker, whatever. Everybody, every villain is some way is something that's put as an obstacle, not just as an obstacle, but literally a deterrent, something that's making him question himself and his motions and his motivations, and yet he still steadfastly holds true. And that's what we all want. We all want to believe that when we're put to the test, when we're really, really challenged, that we're going to stick to our guns, that we're going to keep that kind of, hardcore self-determination and be true to ourselves.
I love it. Batman is life.
I'll say right now, I don't think anyone can top that right now. That came from the heart.
Right.
I love that. That was great.
The feels.
But then I have to ask this: why does Batman stand out then, versus the Spirit, or Tony Stark, or any of the other just normal guys? No superstar, no nothing. I mean, Tony Stark is theoretically as smart as Batman.
Talking Marvel here, folks.
DC. But going with DC, then why not the Spirit, which is just a guy who supposedly faked it, everyone thought he was dead, put on a mask, and became a detective for his city.
Well, I think Brad kind of nailed it. Like, Batman inspires hope. The Bat family, the Bat legacy, and that's how they describe it in the comics. Like, Batgirl and Dick Grayson and Tim Drake, when they talk about it, they call it the Bat legacy, and it inspires hope in a way that I don't think anybody else has. Like, I'm a Marvel girl, sorry. I love Iron Man.
I'm a Marvel.
I mean, I'm a DC fan first, but I love Marvel and I love Iron Man, and he's a really cool character, and he does have a lot of the same opportunities that Bruce has, but I don't think that he inspires hope the same way. Yeah. And he doesn't have that determination, that endless determination that Batman always has. And that is Batman's real superpower.
I think Iron Man's persona, it's a facade, but ultimately Iron Man, you gotta go back to the core. I mean, if you could just like hit on the nail what the core of their it's always about the why, not the what, not the how, it's the why.
It's not about vengeance, it's about justice.
And Iron Man's motivation is guilt.
And it's
Iron Man's motivation it's a sense of personal responsibility. It's atonement. It's something that he personally feels like he has an obligation to do. It's an obligation. The Spirit, it's about duty. The Spirit, it's about he was raised to believe he's got that blue blood, that something that he feels that it's something that he owes, that he's raised in that old fashioned, that it's a very dated time period kind of thing. He's got that kind of that patriotism, that kind of, it's his motivation. And each one has their own. I mean, it's no one is any less noble than the other, but you got to go down to that core. And like I said, Batman's core is just determination, and that's kind of what sets him apart. And
I don't think
was
anybody
the question,
could say
right?
it better than you just did.
Yeah.